the damage was done, and it's apparently now too late for the founder of Papa John's to save his job. Here to discuss is Ron Meyer, a media DC political analyst and Washington Examiner contributor, and back with us, Jillian Melcher. Jillian, let me start with you. This is it feels sort of despicable that you have a big cry for these well-paid athletes to be able to kneel and protest as a First Amendment right, and then the guy who starts his wildly successful business to be yanked from it by his board of directors because he voiced an opinion about it.
Well, I think this gives us an insight into how fraught these issues are right now for corporate America. And there are two studies that I'll point to that I think are just fascinating in the last year. The first is advertisers feel like they're being pushed to take political or social stances, but it turns out consumers hate that. They really don't like it when a brand takes a political stance. At the same time, you've got a huge proportion, I think it was upward of 50% of Americans who have boycotted a brand for either taking a stance or for not taking a stance on an issue they care about. So I think this whole NFL thing has just created a no-win situation. This is our political polarization taking an economic toll.
Ron, I will say that Papa John's stock started the year at 86, is now $57 a share, while its main rival Domino's, their stock is up 20% this year. Some are saying, hey, if you look beyond this thing, maybe there were some economic reasons for that. Although from time to time, it's not unusual for companies to have these sort of problems.
Well, and if you look at what happened to Domino's, they went through the same thing where they had to do a revamp, and that's why they're doing well now. I think what's most interesting is you have Sanderson Farms, which is a poultry company, a chicken company, saying their chicken wing sales are really down and saying it's probably because of the NFL. And so they're just being honest. It's what's going on with business. The NFL, the ratings are down. People aren't as interested with what's going on. Some people say it's because of the protests. That's what the polls say, is people are not watching NFL games because of these protests. Plus, you add on to that this season just hasn't been all interesting because of all of the injuries. And so the NFL is definitely having an impact on business. And it seems like the CEO, that John Shatner, was sort of treated unfairly because he said, frankly, what's true and got fired because of it.
So are you concerned then that the business world, that the board of directors are now deciding the fate of the CEO based on public opinion polls or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's concerning, especially because he was so pivotal in building this brand in the first place. I understand if you need to lean on him to do a revamp, to do some different things, but firing him because he said something that is frankly provably true with statistics, I don't understand that. I understand that you could be afraid of customers boycotting if you take a really controversial political stance. I don't really think that's what he did. He didn't say something racist. He didn't say something that was homophobic. He didn't say something that was politically incorrect. He just said, listen, these protests are having a business effect. I don't see why that's the most controversial thing in the world, and certainly not worth firing someone who's been so pivotal with Papa John's.
Again, Jillian, I mean, these CEOs are already under an enormous amount of pressure, to make every 3 months to somehow appease and wow Wall Street when they have 5 to 10 year game plans, and that's not always able to do that. But this is worrisome. I'm not sure if it's going to continue with other places, but I'm just worried that it's a slippery slope.
I think it is too. I mean, look what happened to the Under Armour CEO, the amount of criticism that he faced for being on a Trump advisory panel. We've seen this play out with Uber before. We've seen it play out with Macy's over carrying the Trump apparel. I think this is a bipartisan issue and something that we really should be concerned about as a nation because it's going to affect every company. Right. We're politically split.
And if you argue for the First Amendment to apply to, to certain things and certain people but not others, then I think you've already lost the argument.
Absolutely true.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Ron. Great seeing you, buddy.